So, I mean, the more you guys have been around me, I'm always talking about like mindset and what's happening on the inside, dictates what's happening on the outside. So I'm going to talk about that some today. But so as far as kicking off the month of June, Velocity just started. I'm super excited because if I just do the same amount of volume in my circle group next month, I'll make $2,000 more than I made this month, which is amazing. Um, so I want to talk about raising the bar, right? So for those of you guys who were at Teamlet University last month, Leif Edmonds, he talked about, and he was pretty blunt, and he said, if you're just barely getting by doing like 2,000 to 3,000 points per month, it's like, that's not going to cut it. Like if your goal is to build a really big and successful business, right? If your goal is just to kind of like maintain yourself, then that's fine. But, he really talked about how you should really be stretching to do, 5K, 10K, 15,000 points. And he said it might seem like a lot right now, but once you set that as the bar for yourself, so that's your new norm, like that's the standard that you hold yourself to, it may take 1, 2, or 3 months to kind of build up to that, but that's, that's really healthy volume. When I see people 2007 points, 2020 points, I know that they're not really recruiting and they're just doing enough product sales to get by, to barely get their minimums to maintain themselves as executives versus, the people like this last month, like, I don't want to leave anybody out, but like Natalie Clyde and Bridget did like 3K maximizers, Natalie Willison, Courtney McHugh, 3K maximizer, Lauren Sloan, 5K maximizer, and others. I know that they're recruiting and they're, developing leaders in their team because they're doing like 3,000 and 5,000 plus points per month. And so personally for myself, like my new standard for myself is that I do at least 10,000 points per month, if not 15,000, right? So last month I did, in April I did like 11 or 12,000 points. This last month in May I did 13,000 points. And in June, our goal is to do over 15,000 points through group sales volume. And so you might think that's a lot, that's impossible, that's so far out of reach. And if you think that, that's what's going to keep happening and showing up in your business, in your life, right? So set that bar higher for yourself because, subconsciously we tend to raise our performance level to that of our expectations, right? So if you set that standard, if Nu Skin had always set the standard that you have to do 5,000 points worth of group sales volume per month to maintain yourself as an executive, everybody would be doing, 5,000 points per month, right? And so if your mind, like whatever you feed your mind, you give that as basically like a problem to solve. Your subconscious mind, as Nathan Rick says, is the greatest supercomputer in the world. Once you give it a problem to solve with a goal, then it's going to do whatever it can to get there by attracting to you the people, the sales, the things that you need to get there. So if you're setting your sights on 2,000 points, 3,000 points, that's what you're going to end up attracting and finding, bringing into your business to get there. Versus if you set that for 5,000 or 10,000, you're going to start to attract the leaders and the people that you need to get there, right? And so I think a goal for a really good goal to set, if you really want to take your business to the next level, is to do 5,000 points worth of group sales volume and to have 3 new LOIs per month. Okay. And then next topic here is just Teamlet University and Success Summit. Teamlet University is June 15th to 16th. And then Success Summit, I've already told you guys this, but my buddy Blake Tillotson, he's built probably just as big of a business as anybody else in the world in Nu Skin over the last 7 to 8 years. He had over 500 plus people on that success trip to South Africa, which means, let's just say those are rubies, right? Or they're between lapis and ruby. That means that those people total, that's like a minimum of probably 1,000 executives represented there on his team. And if you're making $150 per executive you have on your team, so 500 people qualified for the trip, and if they all have 2 to 3 executives, just times it by 2 to be conservative, that's 1,000 executives. And if he's making $150 per executive, that's $150,000 per month of income that's coming through his business. And he's got multiple $1 million circle members in his team, and he's 30, 31 years old. And he said he's built his business 100% through the big events and through success trips. And so if your goal is to take your business to the next level, no matter what part of the country you live in, then it really is a must to come to Success Summit, and to get your team there, even more so than getting yourself there. It's like you have to commit first to go for your team to follow your lead. You're not gonna have success getting your team there if you say, hey, Success Summit's gonna be so great, it's gonna be awesome, like you should totally go. And if you go, I'll go too, right? It works the other way around. It's like, I'm going and you should come with me. And because people follow committed people, and your team will do what you do or less. And so you want to make sure that you're setting the example for them. So now just getting into my topic of what I wanted to talk about today, and feel free, with any questions or comments, to put those in the chat and we'll talk about them moving forward. But there's a book called The Science of Getting Rich by a guy named Wallace Wattles. And this is like a classic book for personal development and entrepreneurship. This book is actually what The Secret was based off of. So if you're into The Secret, that type of stuff, then this is what it was based off of. So he says, the science of getting rich is an exact science. There are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches. And once these laws are learned and obeyed by anyone, that person will get rich with mathematical certainty. So I want to talk about some of the laws that he talks about, and how they apply to our business, because I'm a firm believer that, 90% of success in this business and life is your mindset. And by, following these laws of success, which, in my case, nobody ever taught me. My parents never taught me this. My church leaders never taught me this. School never taught me this. My bosses never taught me this. And, I started learning this stuff because a few years ago, I heard people say, well, 80% of success is mindset. And I got turned on to some personal development stuff. And, I contribute 90% of my success to this. And then just 10% to actually, taking action on it. So the first thing, and I know this is a lot of words on the screen. It's not an exciting presentation to look at, but I want to get this information out there. So these are all quotes from people like Bob Proctor and others, talking first of all about paradigms. So, and I'll just kind of run down the slide here, and hopefully you guys will take notes and get something out of this. But it says paradigms are a multitude of habits that guide every move you make. They affect the way you eat, the way you walk, even the way you talk. They govern your communication, your work habits, your successes and failures. There will be no permanent change in your life until the paradigm is changed, right? So when you go out there, you start building a business, and you go out there, maybe you become an executive, or, you have a huge month and you do great. Your results won't permanently change for the better until your paradigm has changed. Okay. And so perfect, Natalie. Yeah. Screenshot this stuff. This is really, between you guys and me, Kyla's in Utah. I'm out here in Seattle still before we move back. I stayed up to like 2 a.m. last night putting all this together. So I hope you get some value out of it. So it says there are things that are stopping us, but the things that are stopping us are inside us. It's not the money. It's not the people. It's not the situation. It's not the business. It's not the comp plan. It's not the products. It's not Nu Skin. It's us. It's ourselves. It's what's happening on the inside. And so what's going on outside is a reflection of what's going on inside. To change your results, you must change your mental programming. And it says here, like, obviously, you guys, like, we go to an event, we get super pumped up. We do an upgrade call, or maybe somebody like, I get them all fired up, talking and painting the big picture for them. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go do it, right? But those are thoughts on a conscious level, right? When you go to an event, you're like, all right, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to become a Ruby. I'm going to hit Blue Diamond this year. Like, I've had people tell me, okay, you hit Blue Diamond in 9 months. I'm going to go hit Blue Diamond in 9 months. And it's like, okay, you can, but if it's just on a conscious level, it's not going to create permanent lasting results, right? So it says your results are not according to your intellect or what you know on a conscious level, like what you think, but they're according to your programming to your level of consciousness. So basically it's on a subconscious level. It says the only thing that stands between you and the good you desire is a paradigm. Your life is being run on a program. And the fixed images in your subconscious mind control your vibration, right? Or, basically your state of how you feel. And your feelings then control what you attract. And so I've shared this with you guys, this concept that everything you've gone through in your life, from how you were raised to things that you saw and experienced and heard, my parents, they've provided great opportunities for me, but there's been a really strong sense of kind of lack and limitation within the home. And I grew up around that, and always never feeling good enough, or feeling like it's noble to struggle. Like that's what you should do, is like a good, Christian, right? That it's noble to struggle. It's noble to work hard, but, never really feeling like I deserved to be really successful, right? And have abundance and have, time and financial freedom and the success I wanted to have. And so that's part of why it's taken me so long to get where I am today. But so you got to look at yourself and your current results. If you want to know what your paradigm is, what your self-image, how you see yourself, look at your current results in your relationships, and how much money you're making, in your career, in physically, how you look on the outside, all those things. Okay. And so you won't change your results on the outside until you change your paradigm on the inside. And so moving forward here, if you want to see your results change and change them forever, then shifting your paradigms is the only way to do it. When that shift happens, everything changes. And so I know a lot of guys that, like one of the guys I follow, his name's Alex Morton. He's 28, 29 years old. He's earned about $10 million or more in network marketing. He started when he was like 19. And he's a big student of Bob Proctor of this stuff. And I follow him because he's always talking about these laws of success and shifting your paradigm. And, and he contributes all of his success to obviously taking massive action, but, to making those changes on the inside. So how do you guys actually change your self-image or your paradigm to have it be productive to get you where you want to be? And it's through a couple things. So one is through the constant spaced repetition of ideas that are essentially opposite of the paradigm, or a personal experience of an emotional impact, right? So if you have something that's really emotionally impacting, that's not as likely to happen. What we can control is, we can do that constant spaced repetition of ideas that are essentially opposite of the paradigm. And so Bob Proctor, he says, we change our paradigm by using our imagination, right? So what you want to do is you want to get a very clear picture of exactly how you want to live your life, right? Get a very clear picture of exactly what you want to accomplish with this business. So that's our imagination. That's one of our faculties that we can use. So the next thing is we go into the future by seeing how we want to live in the future, right? So we create that clear mental picture of what we want, and, like starting with the end in mind, right? Where do you want to be? Like, as from your involvement and engagement with Nu Skin, where is it that you want to be? What's the end result or end goal? And what you want to do is get crystal clear about what that looks like and bring it into your mind now. And then to start to work from that state, right? Start to operate from that mental and emotional space. And, he says, we got to see it already happening. We must see our wish fulfilled. And I've spoken with you guys from the book Think and Grow Rich. It says, there's a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. No one is ready for a thing until he believes he can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief, not mere hope or wish, right? So it doesn't matter if you hope or you wish, or you set a goal. If you don't truly believe it deep down, you're not going to get it, right? If it's just like, okay, I want to be a team leader. I hope, I hope I can qualify for the next success trip. That's not going to cut it, right? You have to get very, very specific. I'll talk about that in a minute. So it goes on to say here that repetition of affirmation of orders to your subconscious mind is the only known method of voluntary development of the emotion of faith, right? So as it says here, constant spaced repetition of ideas opposite of the paradigm, or constant spaced repetition of affirmations, visualization, giving those orders to your subconscious mind is going to allow you to voluntarily develop faith and belief, and also change the way you see yourself. And the trick to this is to, as it says here, your subconscious mind recognizes and acts upon only thoughts which have been well mixed with emotion or feeling. And so you're only going to create permanent change in your life if you can, through the constant and spaced repetition, is get yourself to visualize as clearly, so clear that you could step into it and live it and get yourself to feel how you would feel over and over and over and over every day, 100 times a day, right? At least every morning, every night. And, maybe 3 times a day in the afternoon is getting yourself to feel how you would feel if you'd already achieved these goals that you have. What would your life look like if you were a Ruby executive earning $3,000 per month and you were qualified for the Bermuda Success Trip and you had a phenomenal team growing? And, what would it feel like if you could quit your job? What would it look like to hand in your, put in your 2 weeks and walk out the door and be self-employed for the rest of your life, never work for anybody else ever again, right? And be your own boss and being completely in control of that. So moving forward here, it's like once you've got that clear mental picture of what you want, now you have to make the decision that you're really going to go for it, right? Because we've talked a lot about desire versus decision. A lot of people have the desire to be successful, right? I want to be a Blue Diamond. I want to be successful. I want a nice car. I want a nice house. I want to be my own boss. And it's more of like, I hope, I wish, right? As we heard just barely Think and Grow Rich, it can't be a state of just hope or wish. It has to be belief. And so how does that happen? It says here in this quote on the top right, basically, until you're really committed to doing it, right, to like making it happen, then it's, you're going to spin your wheels, right? You're going to get, your minimum 2,000 points done per month, which is great. It's better than a lot of people. And I'm proud of all you guys that are doing that. But like, I'm not here to tell you guys how to just maintain yourself as executives. I'm giving you guys the blueprint to write your ticket in life to do whatever you want to do with it. And so, until you're committed, there's always that chance to drop back in effectiveness, always wishy-washy, always I'll do it tomorrow, always, just that state of procrastination. But it says, once you commit, then providence moves too, right? Once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. And so you have to get specific on what you want, right? So I've talked with a couple of you guys, and I challenge you to become Ruby by a certain time. And I'll probably have a conversation with a lot more of you guys about this, but you got to get like dead specific about, okay, I'm going to be a Ruby over the next 90 days, right? I'm going to be a Ruby by June, July, August, so September 1st, right? And what you do when you've truly made that decision, that's where your thoughts, your words, and your actions are all aligned. And you're no longer entertaining any ounce of if, or I hope, or I wish, it would be nice. It's like, no, it's happening. I've made the decision. I'm going to work as hard as I can every day with the time I have available. And for some people, that might be 1 hour a day. For some, it might be 5, right? For some that are full, it might be 12, depending on what your goals are. But, it's making that decision that you're going to do whatever it takes. Right. And the thing is, a lot of you guys, it's like you've been in the business. It's like, I want to be successful, but you don't have clear, specific goals of exactly what you want. You haven't written down, what pin title you want to hit by what time. You haven't written down what income level you want to hit by what time. And so what you're doing is, you're getting enough people coming in just to barely get by in the sales, but you're not really moving forward because you haven't made a decision. You haven't declared to yourself, to your subconscious mind, to God, to the universe, what it is that you want, what you're committed to, and, stuck your, the stake in the ground or draw the line in the sand and said, I'm not going to entertain any other thoughts except those that empower me to move forward towards that goal, right? And so it's no longer a matter of if, it's a matter of by when and how fast. And, as Blake Tillotson says, there's 2 times you start your business. One is when you sign up, and the second is when you make the decision that this is what you're going to do the rest of your life, where you make the decision that there's no better financial vehicle and that it's no longer a matter of if, it's a matter of just when, right? Of how fast you're going to get to the top. And so that's the only way I can explain how I went from 5 years of spinning my wheels to 1 year of, getting to Blue Diamond and obviously having all you guys come. And, a lot of you guys, if it's been several months and you're just kind of like spinning your wheels, you're doing, just a little bit, you're not really getting the traction you want or attracting the people you want into your business, the leaders, you got to think about for yourself, do you just have the desire, right? Do you want the success, or have you made a decision of where you're going by when? You've drawn a line in the sand, and in your brain, it flips onto a different frequency, right? So once you make a decision, you will find all the people, resources, and ideas you need every time. Successful people have the habit of reaching decisions promptly and are of changing these decisions slowly, if and when they change them at all. When you make a decision, you switch your brain onto the frequency of that which you desire, right? Bob Proctor talks a lot about, you have to get yourself on the same frequency of that which you want, right? So if you're down here and what you want is up here, you've got to like change your awareness to get up to that level, right? And that's done through, one, by making a decision where it's like, okay, I'm going to be a team lead executive. And I say that to myself, right? But I've got to apply this too, making $50,000 per month. And you set a date of by when, and it's not just like, I hope or I wish, but it's like all of your thoughts are now around, okay, how am I going to make this happen? And your subconscious mind is now going to work, trying to work that problem out to figure out, to bring you the ideas to help you get there, right? And so for me, it's a total mental shift of, I can feel when I'm just kind of like doing the minimums and getting by, and I'm working, but I'm not really like going all out and going for it, versus when I've made that decision and set a big goal and I'm going for it, because my actions are aligned, and, I'm out there recruiting every day. I'm working hard. I'm at this higher frequency, this higher like energy level of focus and confidence and certainty, that within just that absolute certainty and belief that it's going to happen. And so it says here, when you make a committed decision, that's irrevocable. You cannot go back. You then begin to thinking on this higher frequency, and you think and act like the person you want to become, right? So we talk all about how with goal setting, if you want to have something, you have to do things in a certain way to have it, but you have to first be that person, right? First, you got to be a blue diamond mentally first before you get there physically. So once you make that decision that you're going to be a blue diamond by when, you now are going to start to think and act like that person, and become that person in the process. Okay. So visualization, present state of your bank account, sales, health, social life, position at work is nothing more than the physical manifestation of your previous thinking. You guys don't realize it, but you're visualizing all day long. You're daydreaming, you're thinking about stuff, and you're either thinking positive or negative. You're either thinking my team sucks, this isn't working out, why am I not going faster? I wish I could have some leaders in my team. I wish I could sell more. And it's easier to be negative than it is to be positive. And so, that's just something you have to be very, very mindful of, what are you focused on? And it's not even, because you can think a positive thought on a conscious level, but if you deep down, if the way that you feel is negative and anxious and stressed out, then you're going to attract more situations and things to keep you feeling stressed out and anxious and frustrated, right? And so it says here, when a wealthy person reaches their goal, it's exactly what they expected, precisely because through visualization, they've already been there. And we learned from Sherry Brady, Team Elite in Nu Skin, that you can't accomplish anything you can't visualize, right? So you'll never be able to achieve something like what happened first? A lot of you guys are probably on an iPhone or a smartphone. What happened first? Was it the idea of the iPhone, or was it the iPhone itself, right? What happened first? Me going to Blue Diamond, or me seeing myself as a Blue Diamond first, right? And so everything starts as a thought. And as Think and Grow Rich says right here, riches begin in the form of thought. The amount is limited only by the person in whose mind the thought is put into motion. Faith removes limitations. There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Riches are the offspring of thought. And so if you are thinking to yourself, oh, I can't become an executive, or I can't become a Ruby by, over the next 3 months, that's all just your own limitation, right? Because we now have the next law, which is the law of expectancy, which is, the mental emotional state of holding, it could be positive or negative expectations. And what this law says is that whatever you expect with confidence becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of success. And the Bible says, what things soever you desire when you pray, believe that ye receive them and ye shall have them. And so what you have to start doing is, once you've made that clear mental picture of exactly what you want, right? You start changing that paradigm through the repetition of affirmation, the visualization over and over, getting yourself to feel how you would feel if you already achieved that goal. And then you make the decision that you're fully committed, right? That you're going to do whatever it takes every day to get there. What you have to do now is, it's no longer a hope or a wish. It's pure belief, right? It's expecting the things that you want, and to stop expecting the things you don't want. There's a lot of you now that have, we've had conversations where you basically said, you know, I have people come in my team, but they never post. They never become executives. They always drop out. You know, I got a girl on my team where she says, I can sign people up, but I can't get anybody to post, right? That's because you deep down subconsciously are expecting that people are not going to follow through. And that's what you're emotionally involved in and focused on. And so that's what you attract more of in your life. Okay. So, I mean, this stuff's real, guys. This is the real deal. If you can work all this stuff out on the inside, I mean, you can accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. And so, you know, from Bob Proctor says, expectation invokes the law of attraction. If you've got like that firm belief that if you go out there and if you talk to 3 to 5 new people per day, that you're going to find the right people that want to do this business, then you're going to find them and you're going to be able to reach the goals that you have. Versus if you don't have clearly defined goals, if you don't have the belief that you can be successful, and if you just take action because you're doing it out of fear to not, you know, to get your minimum 2,000 points worth of volume, then, you know, you're just going to kind of spin your wheels. Maybe you get your 2,000 points, but, you know, you're never going to have much more than that happen in your business, right? And so you guys need to start expecting, right? Because this stuff works. Like if you expect to go out, like if you go out and recruit today that you're going to attract powerful leaders into your business, like you're going to go do it, right? I mean, for myself, if I'm not in the right mental and emotional state and I try to go work, it's like, it's easy for me to do everything but recruit. But if I'm able to, you know, tell myself and visualize myself that I'm attracting powerful, confident, committed leaders into my business that become blue diamonds and team elites. And if I say that to myself enough times to the point where I actually feel it and believe it, I'm going to be fired up to go and work and to go build my business and recruit, because I'm going to have that certainty that if I go out there and put in the work, I'm going to attract the great leaders that I need, right? And when you're operating at that higher frequency, that higher vibration, you know, that sense of certainty and confidence, that's magnetic, and you're able to attract the people that you need to make that happen. So, you know, what stops you from having this, you know, from putting these laws into practice? Well, self-doubt, typically based from previous negative experiences, maybe people flaking out in your team. You're like, man, I'm never going to find some great people for my team. Fear. Fear eliminates that certainty and creates that doubt. Then just losing focus, right? If you're not taking time every morning, every night to focus on your goals and affirmations and visualization, like I write my goals down every morning and every night, right? Because it keeps my subconscious mind focused on, you know, on reaching my goals, right? And it makes it so much easier for me to take the actions I need to take to be able to reach the goals that I have, right? So Nathan Ricks, his tagline on his emails, that's consistency and focus. And I've heard tons of leaders say, like, to me over the years, just stay focused, just stay focused, just stay focused. You know, just keep going, just be consistent. So down here, as long as you believe you're never going to get what you want, you can never expect to get it. It's impossible to hold a positive expectancy of success in the face of beliefs that you're not going to get what you want. Okay. And then I think the last one I had here was law of gratitude. So gratitude, what this does is, you know, you guys start practicing this, you know, every morning, every night, you know, write down 10 things you're grateful for, but not just like, hey, I'm grateful for my house and my car and my clothes. It's like, you got to actually feel it, right? You got to actually feel that gratitude. And so it's a little bit more of an introspective exercise, but, you know, it takes your mind off of thoughts of lack and limitation. And, you know, the grateful mind, so faith is born of gratitude. So the grateful mind continually expects good things, and expectations become faith. So be as thankful for it all the time as you expect to be when it has taken form. The man who can sincerely thank God for the things which as yet he owns only in imagination has real faith. He will get rich. He will cause the creation of whatsoever he wants, right? If you can right now be as grateful as you would be as if you'd already qualified for the next success trip, or you'd already hit your goal, then that's real faith, right? Not mere hope or wish, but real faith. And it says real power of gratitude is being grateful for things that aren't yet in your physical world, but that you are using that law of expectancy to say, this is what I've declared to myself, to God, the universe, what I want, what I'm committed to doing. I've made the decision, expressing gratitude for it now and having that expectancy that it's going to show up in your life. Okay. So from there, Zoom's going to cut out on me in like 2 minutes. So I think I'll send out a new link and we'll keep chatting. But from there, you know, the next step is I want everybody to get really good at doing upgrade calls. So because this is where the rubber meets the road, right? This is where you can have lots of people come into your team, but if you can't do like a good upgrade call, then you're going to have people not really stick in your business. So what's really important about this is when you're doing the upgrade call for somebody new in your team, whether it's someone you've recruited or it's someone like you're doing a three-way call for someone in your downline, then what you want to do is you want to share your story. You want to kind of find out what their background is, find out what their why is, find out what their motivation is for doing this business. And then from there, it's really about reviewing the compensation plan and helping them understand the difference between Nu Skin and what they're doing currently in their life to make a living, right? It's about showing them how it's different from a linear income to a leveraged income, right? Where they're trading their time for money versus being able to get paid on the efforts of tens to hundreds of thousands of people, and how that allows them to be able to multiply their time, their efforts, their sales, and their income. And then also just driving home the difference between distributor and executive of why the money starts at executive and why it's so important to get there, okay? And how there's just such a big difference that if you want to make significant money, you got to be an executive. Then you want to share some vision. And I always talk about, going from 2 billion to 10 billion over the next 5 to 7 years, right? And why they should take action now, right? Because if you don't, you're going to miss out. You're going to regret it. You're going to wonder for the rest of your life what could have happened if you had worked hard and if you had really committed to this business. And the next thing is just establishing goals with them of